All right, here we go. Welcome back. This is getting way too long, but I tell you this article blew my mind. So where we left off was um, open the doors to a wave of lawsuits over content seen as defamatory. Again, that's not what's about to happen. That's not what's happening right now. If you think that, again, you're just flat out wrong. You're on the wrong side of history. This piece of legislation or this executive order or this act, however it's going to be rewritten, is not to open the door of litigation to make Facebook and Twitter and YouTube responsible so people can sue them for what's on the platform. What they're doing is the exact opposite. They're rewriting it and altering it and changing it, however you want to phrase it, to allow people to voice and litigate whenever they are defamed. Not when somebody puts something on there that's defamatory towards somebody else. It's the exact opposite of what's happening. Again, NPR is doing a very poor job here. Not surprised. And actually, I was surprised. I thought NPR was above that, but it's the exact opposite of what's happening. They're saying that, oh, the sitting president's just gonna wipe away 25 years of this act, and it's just gonna open the floodgates of litigation for me. So if somebody says something nasty about me on Facebook or Twitter, that's gonna open the door of litigation for me to say, oh, well, you guys need to take that down because John Smith said something defamatory about me. Wrong. That's not what it's about. But it's the old smoke and mirrors. It's to get you confused. It's to get you to think you're in the know about what's going on. This is wrong. It's not what's happening right now. All right, I said I was going to hurry up, so I'm going to try to move it along. Legal experts greeted the order with heavy skepticism, saying, absent a new law passed by Congress, it would not be legally binding. Okay. It flies in the face. This is a quote. Damn it! I always forget to start with a quote. Quote: it flies in the face of 25 years of judicial precedent. Oh, just strongly worded quote from whoever this is. Oh yeah, this is awesome. Quote, it flies in the face of 25 years of judicial precedent. Flies in the face of 25 years. Oh, geez, just this horrible sitting precedent just throwing caution to the wind and just taking a big steaming dump on 25 years of precedent. Just taking a dump on something that we wrote 4 years before the internet was even really viable for anybody. 10 or 15 years before Facebook was even really, where did Facebook really become popular? 2010 probably. So 15 years before Facebook was even a thing, and definitely before Twitter, and probably around the same time as Twitter, whatever. 15 years before these companies were even a wet bed stain, okay? Flies in the face of 25 years of judicial precedent that has been federal. Whoa, what happened here? I can't read. That's probably what it is, because like I said, I'm stupid, simple, and slow. Don't forget, after all this, after NPR, all these people, don't forget I'm the moron, okay? Quote, it flies in the face of 25 years of judicial precedent that has been federal precedent in almost every circuit court, said Kate Klonick, a professor at, here you go, St. John's University School of Law, New York. Oh, there it is. St. John's University School of Law. Who would have thunk that NPR went and found a professor at St. John's School of Law in New York to get their input on the sitting president's new executive order about social media. Flies in the face of 25 years. Quote, it's not the role of the president to interpret federal law. I am so glad that Miss Kate Klonick, a professor at St. John's University School of Law in New York, is quoted on record by NPR saying it's not the role of the president to interpret federal law. Well, holy shnikey, that might be the best piece. Well, no, the last paragraph with Pelosi is the best piece, but this is pretty good. It's not the role of the president to interpret federal law. Well, zippity-doo-dah, here we go. I'm glad you said so, Kate. Okay, so it's not the president's role to interpret federal law, he's not doing that at all. He's not doing that at all. He's not doing that at all. And if that's your interpretation of what's happening, Kate, I'm sorry, you're off the mark too. You know what? You know what else the president's not? He's also not a virologist. Yet there's a huge part of this country and a bunch of people on the mainstream media and a bunch of news outlets that are blaming a lot of people dying on the president. They're saying it's his fault. He's not a virologist. He can't predict the future. It's not his job. Isn't that what she said? Not his role. It's not his role. It's not his role to be a virologist. How would you there's a big sign in is it Times Square that's got all these, that blames all these deaths on the sitting president? What has he got, a crystal ball that he wakes up to every morning? Can he predict the future? So it's not his role to interpret the law, but it's his role to predict the future. And it's his role to predict a pandemic. It's his role to predict, medical circumstances. So he's not a doctor, but he's not a virologist, but he's responsible for all these deaths. It's not his role to interpret the law. I mean, where do these people come up with this? Where do they come up with this? It's not his role to interpret federal law. I would love to see Miss Kate's job description for the President of the United States. I would love to see her write that down on a piece of paper, type it up, print it, whatever, what the role is. So she can set the boundaries as to what she feels like the president is responsible for and not responsible for, and what his role is and what his role isn't. Maybe then the president will do a better job if she defines it for him. Maybe if she explains to him what he is required and not required to do, he'll do a better job. Because maybe if she would have told him a few months ago that he's responsible for understanding pandemics, and he's responsible for understanding viruses, and he's responsible for understanding that, maybe he would have been more prepared. Oh wait, he couldn't have been more prepared. He was too busy fighting for his job in court. He was too busy being impeached to read the newspaper, to find out what was going on in the world. He was too busy fighting for his livelihood and his job. So maybe, Miss Kate, you should outline that for him. Exactly what his responsibility is. What he is to do and when he is to do it. And once you give it to him, would you post it somewhere where we can all see it so we can all understand exactly what his responsibility is? Because I'm confused at this point. But since you know, you can outline it for me and help me understand. It's not the role of the president to interpret federal law. You're right, Kate. Gold star for you. The order was, quote, a very, very clear piece of can't talk. The order was, quote, a very, very clear piece of political theater, Klonick told NPR, adding that the action is unlikely to have any kind of weight or authority. I want to screenshot this so I'm going to find her on social media, because I promise you she's going to eat that. She's going to eat that. Again, you may not agree with everything the president says, but when he says he's going to do something, he does it. So if you think this executive order is going to go nowhere, if you think that this isn't going to happen, or nothing's going to come out of this, if you think this is political theater, again, they're trying to make the sitting president out to be an actor. He's a president. He's the sitting president, a duly elected president. This is not theater. This is not a game. This is not a joke. So just because you're an actress and you want to play this role, this is insane. Very, very clear piece of political theater. Really. Here, let me explain something to you. The sitting president may not speak for you. He may not speak for you. You may hate him. You may dislike him. You may want nothing to do with him. You might like him, you might appreciate him, you might agree with him, you might disagree with him. I don't know what your position or your stance is, but here's the deal. You aren't allowed to say that he doesn't speak for anybody else. You're not allowed to say that. You can't say that. You can't be in the minds and the hearts of 327 million people. Because I'm telling you right now, on this particular matter, he is speaking for me. He is standing up for me. So whenever you say this is very, very clear political theater, speak for yourself. Speak for yourself. You're not speaking for the country. You're not. And the sitting president may not be speaking for the entire country either, but he's speaking for some of them. Because there's a lot of us that are having our voice silenced, and he's trying to stand up for us. And I'm happy to see that. I'm glad a president's actually interested in what's going on out here. I'm glad to have a president that's interested in what's happening out on the streets and what's happening to real people. So I'm sorry you can't see down here where us po folk is. I'm sorry you can't see down where we are. But I would like to have some rights. I would like to have some freedom of speech. I would like to not be silenced every time I don't agree with you. Because guess what? I don't have to agree with you. I don't have to agree with Zuckerberg. I don't have to agree with Dorsey. I don't have to get my news from CNN. I don't have to get my news from Fox. I can get my news wherever I want. I don't have to agree with you. So I'm happy that a sitting president is actually concerned about people's voices not being silenced. Because I for one, I know there's other people like me, are sick of these social media dictators, these Silicon Valley tyrants that are crushing people, defaming people, ridiculing people, bullying people, defaming people that dedicated their lives to their profession because they want to help people and save people. And just because they don't agree with you politically doesn't mean they should be silenced. This is insane. I mean, just put whatever label you want on it. Communism, Nazi Germany, Gestapo. I mean, whatever. This is crazy. I'm so sick of this group of people that says, agree with us or else. Agree with us or else. So yeah, I'm glad that the sitting president cares. That the anti-bullying group is out on the streets bullying people. They're doing it out on the streets and they're doing it from home from their computer and their phone. So yeah, I'm glad he cares. So it might be political theater to you from your ivory tower. But the po folk out here, the working class out here, the people that don't agree with your nonsense have a voice now. So no, I don't agree with very much of anything that most politicians say or do. But when finally, a politician stands up for my rights and my voice and my beliefs, you're damn right I'm going to be happy about it. And you're damn right I'm going to support them. And I can support somebody on an issue and not agree with everything that they do and say. But I have enough IQ points to discern when somebody's standing up for me and when somebody's trying to stifle me. And I'm sorry, I refuse to support somebody that doesn't agree with my ability to express my opinion on what's supposed to be an open platform. Very, very clear piece of political theater. Very, very clear. Whew. Not interested in whatever this actress from St. John's University School of Law. Not interested in what this actress has to say. Because she doesn't speak for everybody. It's not clear. It's not very, very clear. NPR. Oh my goodness. Never in my wildest dreams. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. The order directs the Federal Communications Commissions to start a rule-making process to clarify. Sorry. The order directs the Federal Communications Commission to start a rule-making process to clarify when social media companies should keep protections under the law. Haight Capital Markets analyst, again, experts, people you've never heard of, you have no idea what they do, you have no idea what their agenda is, you have no idea what their intentions are, what their belief systems are, what direction they're heading. You have no idea who these people are. But here we are, NPR, we're just going to be spoon-fed this information from these people, and you have to believe that they have your best interest in mind. People that you've never heard of, they've never heard of you, but you have to believe that they're on your side. Okay? Haight Capital Markets analyst Chase White and Clayton Allen described the executive order as mostly noise without teeth. Ooh, boy. Thanks, Chase and Clayton. Let me explain something to you. I have not been paying attention to politics for very long. Haven't been paying attention to the news for very long because it's mostly garbage. But I will tell you this. Pretty much most of what this sitting president has said he's going to do, he's done. So when he says he's going to make a change, he'll do it. So again, I'm going to screenshot this. I'm going to find you on social media because I'm pretty confident that somewhere in the future, probably not too far in the distant future, you're going to be eating those words. Okay, with teeth, mostly noise without teeth. Okay, so we'll see about that. In a note to investors, so I'm assuming this is what Chase and Clayton wrote to their investors. In a note to investors, they wrote that the FCC only exerts limited control over social media companies, which are not regulated like traditional broadcasters. Okay, think about that. And historically, the FCC has been opposed to social media regulation, White and Allen pointed out. So think about that. They're telling their investors. So that already tells you that they're I guess it's kind of 50-50. Part of me wants to, they're either worried and they're notifying their investors of what's going on, or they're giving the benefit of the doubt. They're not worried. They're just notifying them that, hey, we want to let you know we heard this too, but don't worry, nothing's happening. This is going on. There's no teeth in this. So they're either completely right or completely wrong, and there's probably not a lot of gray area here. Okay? And only time will tell. That always does. But again, they said historically the FCC has been opposed to social media regulation. Now think about that. The Federal Communications Commission is opposed to social media regulation because it's not broadcasting. It's not broadcasting. It's a social media platform where people upload information, not where people that are being paid are broadcasting information. And that's really the difference. FCC is not involved in it because the people using it aren't getting paid. When you turn on the television, you turn on your radio, the FCC gets involved in that because they're disseminating information to thousands of people. They're getting paid to do it. Okay, so they're regulating this. They're monitoring this. Well, the FCC doesn't need to monitor me. Right? That makes sense? Okay? Already, some of the 5 members of FCC are expressing concern about the White House's action. There's this huge thicket of First Amendment issues that it drags the agency into. Democratic Commissioner Jennifer Rosenworcel, I'm sorry if I messed up your name, told NPR, there's a huge thicket of First Amendment issues that it drags the agency into. Chief among them is the government regulating speech, dictating what can and can't be said online. She warned the order sought to turn the agency into the president's speech police. Again, 100% incorrect. That's the exact opposite of what's happening. NPR is wanting you to believe they're trying to twist and manipulate the narrative to the opposite of what's happening. Chief among them is, and this is quote, chief among them is the government's is the government regulating speech, dictating what can and can't be said online. That is the opposite. What the sitting president is trying to do is to monitor what the dictators and tyrants of the social media platforms are doing to the people using the platform. Not holding them responsible for what's on the platform. It's going to regulate their ability to censor what's on the platform, their ability to scrub what's on the platform. The FCC and NPR is trying to get you to believe the opposite of what's happening. Why? Why would they do that? The president is not saying we want the FCC to monitor what people are posting on there. That's not true. It is still up to Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, in good faith, to monitor what's being on their websites. Child porn, sex trafficking, drugs, all this stuff. It's in good faith their responsibility to do that. This executive order is not at all asking the SEC to monitor what people are posting and not posting. It's telling them that they're going to have to start monitoring these tech companies in Silicon Valley of what they're allowing and not allowing on their platforms, and not only that, probably why. NPR, what a shame on you. Golly, it's the exact opposite. She warned the order sought to turn the agency into the president's speech police. Again, not true. They don't want the FCC monitoring what people are posting on these platforms. That is the platform's responsibility. What the executive order is getting the ball rolling is making sure these platforms aren't being biased and squashing people's opinions. That's it. This NPR article is blowing my mind. Attorney General William Barr, and again, there's a video out there of what he said because he was in the Oval Office when the president signed the executive order, and there's about a 4-minute piece of him talking, and it's the last 45 seconds is very important of what he said. And I urge you to go watch that video. Go find that video, watch it, and listen very carefully to the last 45 seconds of what he says. And it's so paramount to this. So paramount. And I wish I could do it justice, but basically what he said was, in a nutshell, it's a bait and switch. These platforms built followings and millions of downloads and users on the idea and on the premise that they're a fair, open, unbiased social media platform where people can share ideas and share opinions and share their beliefs. And now they've turned into an editorial where they're editing the content. That's a bait and switch, and that's what he says in there. You need to go listen to it because it's a bait and switch. Hey, we built this following, this millions and millions and millions of people and these views and all this money and revenue they're making off of these millions of people and eyeballs. And then down the road, now that they've got all this money and they're successful, now that they've shifted gears. They shifted gears completely out of this mode of come one, come all, share information, share ideas, to you can't say that. You're not allowed to say that. That's not true. We don't believe in that. Not criminal activity, not lawbreakers. We're talking about law-abiding citizens that have different beliefs than the people that run the platform, so they're being squashed. Attorney General William Barr said the White House plans to push litigation to Congress that would seek to reinterpret Section 230 to counteract the sweeping protections it granted to large technology companies. Quote, "It's been stretched," end quote, said Barr, standing next to Trump in the Oval Office. Quote, "And I don't know of anyone in Capitol Hill who doesn't agree that it has been stretched beyond its original intention," end quote. So again, he's stating that the original intention was X, Y, and Z. We've already proven at least once in 2018 it's been changed to not just be all-encompassing, to where, hey, social media platforms, if you don't take down sex trafficking, child porn, we will come after you. Congress already did this in 2018. So he's saying that this has been stretched beyond its original intention. So we understand that this shield has been stretched beyond its original intention. Why is that so hard to understand? There's the letter of the law and the essence of the law. The essence of the law was to protect them from litigation, from criminal activity. The letter of the law has shielded them far above and beyond that. So now they're going to rewrite the letter of the law to match the essence of it. Ta-da! This is crazy. NPR. Okay, we've got... Okay, we're getting there.